I fear the unknown. I fear what I may find. I fear letting my mind go astray. My power. I fear my voice. Fixing myself to this world. Rendering my private abstract thoughts concrete. I fear being known, being seen, remembering. When I have little to no perception of who I'm meant to be.
Today is a new day, much like yesterday, I'm sure, so I hope things change. It's honestly been a while. I've been stuck in this endless loops of ups and downs, and I feel little to no control over my life given the current circumstance. I'm very wary of being too fatalistic, but at the same time, I don't want to be delusional about things. Sure, there's always something going on in some corner of the world, if not here, then next door, but I'm tired. I don't want to lie to myself that nothing is wrong in hopes that I could muster up some sort of courage to get daily things done. I think it's absurd. It feels like it's all breaking piece by piece, and I'm just stuck here wondering where it ends, where it begins, and will I ever be free?
I need a release.
Today's video is brought to you by Cheeks. Cheeks is a subscription-based sexual wellness platform where every member gets access to authentic adult films, tutorials, erotic audio stories, expert-led workshops on sexual wellness, and a taboo-breaking magazine. All content available on Cheeks is produced responsibly and fairly and works to take on a more inclusive and progressive approach to pornography. They strive to depict sexuality in a way that is close to reality, diverse, fun, and consensual. With this conversation centering on the politics of our own reality, sexuality and the depiction of it is something that is often exploited. Mainstream pornography focuses on profit, and in that process compromises the safety and autonomy of performers and crew. It has also contributed to a lot of sexual misinformation, unrealistic and toxic expectations, and has been the root of a lot of our body image issues and struggles with intimacy. Ethical porn aims to create better and safer standards for all participants, with more comprehensive practices around consent that factor in the physical and emotional states of the performer, better production conditions for everyone involved, as well as a more authentic depiction of sex. Join Cheeks today to access high-quality, diverse, and inclusive erotic content today by using my code MONICA14 for 14 days free. That's 14 days without obligation and free of charge to test Cheeks with an annual subscription. Subscriptions are $14.90 per month or $9 with an annual subscription. Thank you so much again, Cheeks, and here's the rest of the video. Everything is political. One of the many myths of our modern civilization is that we're smarter, wiser, more moral, and technologically advanced than those that came before us. That the horrors of the past were a mere oversight of those long gone, and that to move forward, we must always look forward. Coupled with an obsession with hyper-individualism and American exceptionalism, we are taught to see the problems as personal and not systemic. Your poverty is a product of your own unwillingness to be hardworking and resourceful in the greatest nation you could be in, filled to the brim with endless opportunity. Seeing things through the lens of class, gender, sexuality, disability, and race inhibits your personal progression because, as we all know, America is the land of opportunity, the melting pot of the world. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. All this feels too familiar. I suspect we won't get our peace. I don't really care to have close, chosen relationships with those who I don't share certain beliefs with. I know this is something that can be socially frowned upon because we're supposed to be open to all ideas and willing to engage in healthy dialogue to lessen the divide and move forward and blah, blah, blah. But I just don't want to. And it's not because I want to live in an echo chamber or because as a leftist I get triggered and I'm a crybaby and I can't handle reality. But for me, it's just like I just don't see the need to keep engaging with someone that sees the validity of my existence as a thought experiment. I don't want to continually engage in devil's advocate style debates over things that are a reality for me and a hypothetical for you. Partly because it's exhausting, but mostly because the need to take all viewpoints as valid and just personal beliefs, just hypotheticals, personal to an individual, is getting humans killed in reality. Everything is political. Hyper-individualism will have you think that your freedoms are inherent, that you can get as far as you want if you work hard, and you're entitled to your own beliefs insofar as you're a good person to those around you. But for me, it's not just that. I choose to understand my reality through the systems at play, systems that are shaped by beliefs. Growing up, conspiracy theories were popular, and they still obviously are today. We all sit and wonder if there's some evil group that controls everything. People on all sides join in and wonder if it's the Illuminati, the aliens who built the pyramids, the devil, the Russians, the Chinese, the U.S. government colluding to traffic children in a pizzeria and sell the gay agenda to feminize masculine men or whatever is going on.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
Ultimately, we are all scared and want safety and stability. But rather than imagining an equitable world, a world of not just equality where we have the same things, equal rights and equal freedoms, but one where the realities of the ways in which groups of people have been systemically oppressed is accounted for, some people see that as unfair and would rather uphold the values that benefit their immediate reality. The saying,
"When you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression,"
comes to mind. I think those that are privileged understand that they're better off than others, even if they repress the reality of what got them to that point. They might not want to acknowledge the fact that they're privileged, but I think deep down inside, they know they'd rather not be the next person. They know they got it pretty good. Hyper-individualism and the ways in which America pushes the myth of the American dream makes it so you can believe you got to where you are because you worked harder. You may say, well, I don't mind others having what I have, but I didn't get a handout, so neither should they. But due to the systems at play, your handout may have been inherent, a product of something as arbitrary as you being born in this house versus the next house, this body versus another body. Also, side note, no one takes more handouts than the mega rich, i.e. multi-million, billion-dollar bailouts. Meanwhile, low-income people are ashamed for getting $100 a month in food stamps. Like, it's absurd to me. No one loves more government money than the rich. Like, it makes no sense. And you got, like, low-income and middle-class Americans, like, duking it out over the shame of like getting what's rightfully yours, because at the end of the day we all pay taxes, so all this money is rightfully ours to take. Welfare exists for the benefit of all. Acknowledging privilege doesn't detract from your success, but it does force you to acknowledge injustice, and acknowledging the problem for some creates a level of discomfort that rocks your existence. Like, you just can't handle the fact that, like, yeah, some people have it harder than you. You can't, like, I feel like sometimes when people are like, acknowledge your privilege, like, you had it pretty okay, people are like, well, you don't know what I went through. It's like, yeah, and what? Like, so what? Like, you're still okay, bro. Like, let it go. Anyways, the major struggle in this system is access to capital. In all reality, the top earners in this nation, billionaire business owners, right? Many, you can trace their lineage to slave ownership, whether through chattel slavery in the America or the exploitation of humans for the acquisition of natural resources, i.e. like blood diamond and gem mining, right? Not Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. He comes from like like mining money or cheap labor around the world. A lot of the new billionaires that, like, you know, essentially use human modern day slavery for the production of your $2 leggings. It's sad, but like it's in some way or another someone's getting fucked. That's why it's impossible for you to be like ethically a billionaire. But yeah, it's the exploitation of humans for cheap labor, natural resources, and that's the biggest form of capital generation that exists. With access to capital, to money, to property, to major industries and sites for manufacturing, you're essentially in control of all systems. Like, you literally control everything. The reason why I don't see conspiracy theories as useful in the quest for freedom is because we don't have to make like absurd claims about the state of the world to challenge the powers that be. It's not aliens. It's literal human beings whose wealth we celebrate in all aspects of our existence. Reality is crazier than wondering if science is lying to us about the world being flat. The lies they tell us are broader and more tangible. Whether there was an alien or not, it doesn't matter because right now major corporations are buying out all politicians on all sides and that are constantly advocating against us. We're literally being killed. I don't care if they're aliens. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's more pressing issues. Everything is political because it's not about the clear-cut laws we read and see in the mainstream. The politics of everything is why your street has potholes versus a perfect street a few blocks down in a different neighborhood has a different politician, because everyone there earns a certain amount of money or the demographics are broken down in a certain way, i.e. there's more black people where you live. As soon as you drive into the Bronx, by the way, I'm from the Bronx has the world's most potholes. I don't understand. Driving here is like ridiculous. It's why your public school has metal detectors and mass policing and the other has extracurriculars and lunch outside. That was my school situation. I went to a school in the MLK campus, metal detectors every single day. We went to school right next to LaGuardia High School. Top art school in the city. Them motherfuckers was outside eating lunch. I was getting pat down. It's why our country is the most powerful and richest country on the planet, but people die every day from lack of access to basic health care. That's like real. I don't think people realize how not normal it is to, like, in the richest nation, we are the funders, the creators of so much technological medical advancement, and are people dying in waiting rooms? Are people like cannot afford their insulin? It's why the price for life-saving medications that have no other alternatives, like EpiPens. Like, if you're going into anaphylactic shock, you're definitely allergic to peanuts, you need an EpiPen. Guess how much an EpiPen is? By the way, it wasn't this much before. They shot up the price. They price gouged. It's $600. Across the border in Canada, it's like $100 or less. Like, it's why we as citizens pay huge taxes that go straight to the military, policing, and politicians. No care for our infrastructure, education, health, arts, and culture. But multi-millionaires and billionaires get tax breaks that further corrupt our country. Like, I don't know why we have to focus on conspiracy theory. There is no theory. Just read a newspaper. Watch a congressional meeting. They're literally saying what they're doing. It's quite like they're to the point. It's not a secret. It's crazy. It's why scientific advancements are slowed down and people will suffer and die. And people are suffering and dying from climate change. Climate change disproportionately impacts low-income people and BIPOC people, specifically indigenous people. They are at the forefront of climate change. Like, these are the people that will suffer the most for the acquisition of random fucking fossil fuels that we do not need to continue to invest in. But the major industries that have existed for generations and generations that are monsters at this point and have control over all of our government do not allow for more funding into green technology that would potentially help slow down the emission of, like, you know, the gases that are destroying our planet. It's why black people own significantly less property because of strict redlining across the nation. It's why people with uteruses can now in certain states catch a felony for rightfully terminating a pregnancy. We have people that don't even have a semblance of basic biology. All they like is church racism and misogyny, saying what people with uteruses, specifically even in terms in situations like ectopic pregnancies, where you will literally die unless you terminate that pregnancy. That is the most clear-cut situation. Those type of issues where the mother and the baby will both die. It is now illegal in several places in this country with the overturning of Roe v. Wade to get an abortion. It's why black people are jailed disproportionately. Fun fact, wealth acquisition has meddled its way into what should be rehabilitation. Jails, prisons should be rehabilitation. There are very few things that I care about what you did. Like, there's very few things that I'm like, that's irredeemable. Like, 8 out of 10 things, I'm just like, bro, you should be in and out. Let's like work through it. Let's get you a program. Let's learn some skills, and let's get you back out there with your family and back into the workforce. But no, incarceration is a for-profit industry that sources labor for pennies an hour. They're literally in prison, like 10 cents an hour, sewing things for us. How is that legal? Because, the government doesn't serve us, it serves major companies. But all of this is okay because we have freedom. As Americans, we have American Idol, we have shopping and fast food and billboards as far as the eye can see, advertising all that we could possibly purchase. We have reusable totes and water bottles and vegan milk and organizations that partner with the police to protest and have our voices heard. We share infographics every day and get paid unlivable wages, but you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs if you're really interested in making it far. High interest private loan companies will surely take your application for higher education, even if you can't pay them back, which will sink your credit score, and you will never be able to own anything on this earth until the day you die. You have the right to pay half your wage in healthcare with high deductibles in the nation with the top medical specialists in the world. We follow good Christian family values in a nation as free as America that prides itself on acceptance, freedom, diversity, and an alleged separation of church and state. But somehow the conversation keeps going back to, when are we going to get back to good Christian values? You mean slavery? It's difficult, and I don't claim to have any solutions, right? I'm not an expert in any of this by any means. I do believe in government. Like, in an idealistic world, government, voting, and taxation would give the people what they need because it's meant to serve the people, not corporations. Our taxes would fund our well-being, not the military that feeds global instability. The military ain't saving us from anything, by the way. The military is on a world tour of, like, guaranteeing that our major companies have access to certain natural resources around the world. That's why we're causing so much instability. We are, when you read history books and you're like, wow, that empire was evil. That's us. That's us. Yeah, the military is just an attack dog for American capitalist interests. Our voting in an idealistic world would amount to an actual representation of our needs rather than just Democrats who are just Republicans telling us to vote for more Democrats who by all political metrics are more like conservatives than they are liberals when it comes to the actual executions of legislation. In general, we should be angry. Like, we should be pissed. I don't understand why we have a tendency to ridicule the people that are always bringing up politics or race or gender into everything. The activist-minded individuals that seem to always find a problem with everything that's fun. It's just like, well, Shein actually contributes to slavery, around modern day slavery around the world. And it's just like, bitch, just let me enjoy this $5 t-shirt. It's just like, yes and no. I feel like if you are upset, that is perfectly valid and I think is a proper response to what's going on. But I think a lot of the current mental anguish that a lot of us are experiencing, the dissociation, the constant mental turmoil, the needing to escape, the ups and downs, it's because we're not acknowledging what's going on, right? it's not just solely the last few years. You know, global pandemic, hundreds of thousands, if not millions dead, lost jobs, homelessness, war, mass shootings, economic recession, inflation. They don't have dollar pizza in New York City. I said pizza. They don't have dollar pizza in New York City anymore. It's $1.50 now, by the way. It's not all of that. That's not even what's causing this. Like that's not even that. I think the major contributor to this like anguish is the need to make it seem like everything is all right. Like everything is normal. Like we could just keep going on with business as usual. As if like we just gotta wait it out. Things are gonna be normal again. But it's like, read the room. It's a scary time. And like, here's the thing. I'm not like, now I'm going off script. The script is done. I didn't finish writing the script. This is just me now. Off the top. Let's go. Here's the thing. I'm not like the most politically informed person. This is something that I've been for the last like 2-3 years diving more into, and it's helped make a lot of sense for what I feel. I think at times, like in the beginning of this journey for a lot of people, and that's why like when people initially were getting quote unquote woke, I hate that word, but like woke, it's just like there was a lot of anger and screaming, and it's like that when you realize how wrong things are, you will be angry. That's why I'm like, you kind of should be angry. If you're not angry, I don't think you're really realizing what's going on. And now, I don't mean that you gotta be at the protest. Not everyone is made to be on the front lines. I don't know. I personally don't know what you should be doing, because I don't know what I should be doing. But what I won't be doing is acting like nothing is going on. All this to say, everything is being brought up into question right now. With the overturn of Roe versus Wade, there's been conversations about overturning other things, from the conversation around gay marriage, the conversation around segregation, things like that. And I think it's this really interesting thing that's happening. I think a lot of us are understandably so kind of dissociating. Life is feeling like a movie, because it's like, this can't be happening. Like, you look at the history books growing up and you're like, it's not me. The harm of the ways in which we relate to the past is that we think it's not us. It is us. We are in real time in the middle of something really impactful. Now, it is important for you to get your rest. It is important for you to eat. It is important for you to be in community. But I think everyone should be talking about these things. In these past few weeks, I haven't really felt compelled to like make videos, because it's just, I feel like I have like information overload. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say that could make a change. I don't want to do regular like just entertainment stuff, and not that I was necessarily the most entertaining, funny escapism channel on the platform, not at all, but it's just like, it just felt like I've been feeling hopeless. But I think ultimately realizing that there's something wrong and having your feelings of fear validated has been very energizing for me, because it's just like, Kamala Harris really sat there and said, what you want me to do?
You're saying now, the president said that this fall Roe is on the ballot. But what do you say to Democratic voters who argue, wait a minute, we worked really hard to elect a Democratic president and vice president, Democratic-led House, a Democratic-led Senate. Do it now.
But do what now? What now? I mean, listen, what we did, we extended the child tax credit for the first year.
I'm sorry, when I say do
right?
what,
Yeah.
do it now,
Yeah.
act legislatively to make abortion rights legal.
We feel the same way. Do it now. Congress needs to do it now.
And now I'm just like, it's not that she don't know what to do. If she clearly isn't advocating for our rights, who is? Who is? And I guess I just posed that question because I have zero idea. Because what they want you to do is be nihilistic. Now I sound like a conspiracy theorist. What they want you to do. But literally, what they want you to do. They want you to not care. They want you to be so over this that you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna go party. And now I'm gonna go shop because this bro sucks and I deserve to take care of me. And of course you deserve to take care of you, but there won't be any you left to take care of if the way things are going. So it is in the government's best interest for people to be apathetic about their current circumstance. You think they think they're in the clear when you're happy? No, as long as you're feeling defeated, absolutely powerless, weak, can't move, they're winning. You want to feel energized, to verbalize what's going on. This isn't normal. Granted, I still don't know what to do. I'm here talking. I literally don't know what to do, but I'm like, I can't make any other video except this. And I tried to maybe soften the harshness and just the tone of the video with maybe a little bit more cinematic production value for y'all, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm trying to get more creative with it, but like legitimately I don't really know what's gonna happen. I think life has been a series of like bad weeks, like this week was bad but maybe next week will be better, like the politics are bad but maybe the next politician will be better, like, and it just feels like a never-ending situation, and then we're entering a recession, and it just sucks because I feel like people in our generations, like millennial, Gen Z, and even people that are younger than that, never got their chance at life in a sense. And it's like, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, you can't live or any of that. You could obviously still try and do things, but it's like we never got the ability to just exist. A lot of us are having to take on multiple jobs with no health insurance. I know so many people that if they right now get sick and fall down a set of stairs, you cannot call them an ambulance. Call them an Uber, because they do not have the $800 to $1,000 to take that taxi ride to the hospital, to then spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on x-rays or band-aids or a cup of Tylenol. Like, it's the most absurd situation that we live in. This is no way to live. This is no quality of life. So much of our money goes to taxes. So much of our wage goes to taxes, and we don't have insurance. So much of our wage goes to taxes and our streets aren't paved. So much of our wage goes to taxes and our children's schools are falling apart. There's 40 kids per teacher. So much of our money goes to taxes and you can't go to college. You had to drop out of college, and now your credit score is fucked up from the loans you took to go to college to try to uplift yourself from a situation. And now it's becoming a situation where it's like, if you get an abortion in certain places and you get caught, you will be charged with a felony. If you got a felony, you can't even vote. You can't even advocate for yourself. You can't even get a job in many respects. So it's just like, what are we supposed to do about any of these things? But have no fear. There is no need to be hopeless. We are creating collectively the worlds that we want to see, and these conversations add up to something. In general, though, y'all, protect yourselves for real. I think the mental health situation right now is really bad. I think there's been a lot of gendered violence, a lot of just general violence. Like, you really take care of yourselves. I hate to be the type of person that's kind of like, I feel like I tend to leave these videos on a lighter note and a more hopeful note, but it's just kind of like, I don't think it's the time. Like, I don't know. Like, I would love to hear what you guys think. Like, this is genuinely like an open conversation about this, because I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I really don't know what's around the corner. But as I learn more and figure out the different ways in which changes can be made, we will continue the conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support and for your patience and waiting for a video. That last video, low-key, took a lot out of me. It wasn't so much so like, trolling, bullying doesn't really bother me personally. I've been through that, but I think it was just kind of like, in a weird way, it messed with me. Like, I felt depleted for a few weeks. I was definitely extremely burnt out. Like, I know my symptoms of burnout, and it ends up with me just like spacing out, stomach issues, can't sleep properly. I feel tired all the time. I couldn't think. I had a lot of brain fog. I couldn't put thoughts together. I just felt very like emotional and like just like slow. Like, I wasn't as sharp as I normally was. So I just kind of took some time for myself. And then amidst all the time I took, all this shit happened. And then also, I wrote this video, by the way, even more fleshed out last week. Wrote it all, it got deleted. I'm like, is there someone out there trying to stop me from using my voice and my platform? It felt like it, right? But no, I still made the video again. And I'm really happy to have this platform to communicate with y'all. And I don't know, be safe, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. All right, thank you so much, and see you on the next one.